1. Intro. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to control your mood without even trying? A comment, a look, a tone of voice, and suddenly, your peace is gone. The Stoics believed something unsettling. Difficult people don't steal your power, you hand it to them. Not through weakness, but through reaction. Before we go deeper, if you're drawn to ancient wisdom that helps you stay calm, clear, and unshaken in a noisy world, subscribe to Legacy of Thinkers. This channel is for those who choose mastery over chaos. Because once you understand the Stoic rule behind emotional control, you'll realize something quietly powerful. The moment you stop reacting, they lose their power. 2. Relatable modern scene. You're not yelling. You're not insulting anyone. You're just trying to explain yourself. But the more reasonable you sound, the more unreasonable they become. They interrupt. They twist your words. They raise their voice just enough to pull you into their emotional space. You feel your chest tighten. Your thoughts speed up. You replay the conversation in your head long after it ends. And here's the part that hurts the most. They seem fine. They move on, while you carry the weight of the exchange for hours, sometimes days. This happens at work meetings, in relationships, with family, with people who know exactly which button to press. You tell yourself you should have stayed calm, that you shouldn't care so much. But the truth is, you didn't lose control because they were stronger. You lost it because you engaged. Because in that moment, you believed you needed to defend your tone, your intentions, your worth. And without realizing it, you stepped into a game they've already mastered. One where emotional reaction is the currency, and attention is the reward. 3. Stoic principle. The Stoics didn't believe emotional pain came from people. They believed it came from judgments. Seneca wrote that an insult only lands if it finds a place to sit. If your mind offers no seat, the insult collapses under its own weight. This is the core Stoic principle most people miss. Events are neutral. People are neutral. What disturbs you is the meaning you assign in real time. When someone speaks harshly, the sound itself has no power. The power enters the moment you decide, this shouldn't be happening to me. Or worse, this says something about who I am. Epictetus was even more direct. He warned that the moment you seek emotional validation from others, you place your inner state in hands you cannot control. And that is how difficult people gain leverage. Not because they are louder, not because they are cruel, but because you unconsciously grant them authority over how you feel. The Stoic response is not suppression. It is separation. Separating what is said from what it means. Separating behavior from identity. A Stoic understands this quiet truth. No one can provoke your inner world without your cooperation. The moment you stop confusing noise with meaning, you reclaim something rare in the modern world: sovereignty over your emotional space. 4. The Stoic rule, core idea. The Stoic rule is not complicated, but it is demanding. It says this: never answer emotional chaos with emotional effort. Most people do the opposite. They try to explain themselves harder. They raise their voice slightly. They sharpen their words. They believe clarity will fix disrespect. The Stoics understood something most of us learn too late. Emotional chaos feeds on engagement. When someone is difficult, confrontational, or provocative, they are not looking for truth. They are looking for reaction. Reaction confirms relevance. Reaction creates leverage. Reaction hands them control. So the Stoic response is not silence out of fear. It is silence out of clarity. It is the discipline of refusing to fuel what does not deserve energy. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily that other people act from ignorance, fear, or habit, not from some calculated mission to ruin your peace. And when you truly understand that, you stop personalizing behavior that was never about you. The Stoic rule asks one question before every response. Will this preserve my inner order, or disturb it? If the answer is disturbance, the correct move is restraint. Not coldness, not withdrawal, but measured presence without emotional exposure. This is where most people misunderstand Stoicism. They think calm means passive. In reality, calm is strategic. When you remain composed, you deny difficult people the feedback they depend on. They lose rhythm. They lose direction. Because without reaction, their behavior has no mirror. The Stoics knew that control doesn't come from winning exchanges. It comes from deciding which exchanges are worthy of your inner life. And once you stop investing emotion where it isn't respected, you discover something unsettling but freeing. Difficult people don't lose power because you confront them. They lose power because you no longer need them to change. 5. Modern application. In modern life, the Stoic rule doesn't live in books. It lives in meetings, messages, and moments where tension appears unexpectedly. At work, it means not rushing to defend yourself in every discussion. When a colleague challenges you, the Stoic response is not silence, it's precision. You state what matters once, calmly, and you stop explaining. Because explanations invite debate. And debate is where emotional chaos finds oxygen. In relationships, the Stoic rule looks like refusing to argue in emotional heat. You pause. You create space. You return to the conversation only when clarity is possible. This isn't avoidance. It's timing. With family, it's recognizing patterns. Some people repeat the same criticism because they know it works. The Stoic doesn't correct the pattern. They remove the reward. No raised voice. No visible frustration. No emotional payoff. And something subtle happens. Without reaction, difficult people don't escalate. They stall. They search for the familiar response. When it doesn't arrive, the interaction loses momentum. This is where the power shift becomes visible. You are no longer pulled into their emotional orbit. You remain centered, grounded, unrushed. You still speak when needed. You still set boundaries, but you do it without surrendering your inner balance. The Stoic rule is not about being agreeable. It's about being unmovable. When you stop reacting on cue, you stop being predictable. And predictability is what difficult people rely on most. In the end, the modern application of Stoicism is simple but radical. Protect your attention. Guard your emotional energy. And let your calm become the boundary they can't cross. 6. Inner shift. At some point, something shifts inside you. Not because people suddenly become kinder. Not because conflict disappears. But because your relationship with reaction changes. You begin to notice the space between stimulus and response. A breath. A pause. A choice. What once felt automatic now feels optional. This is the Stoic turning point. You realize that calm is not the absence of pressure. It is the presence of control. You no longer measure strength by how much you can tolerate. You measure it by how little you need to prove. Difficult people still speak. They still push. But the words no longer land the same way. Not because you hardened, but because you clarified. You understand that their behavior belongs to them. Your response belongs to you. And those two things do not need to be connected. This is where freedom quietly enters. You stop rehearsing conversations in your head. You stop carrying emotional residue from interactions that no longer matter. Your energy returns to you. And with that return comes presence. You listen more carefully. You speak less urgently. You act from alignment instead of defense. The Stoics describe this state as inner order. A mind arranged around values rather than reactions. Once you experience this shift, you no longer seek peace from others. You carry it with you. And that is when difficult people truly lose their power. 7. Quiet call to action. If this idea stayed with you, even for a moment, let it settle. Stoic wisdom isn't meant to impress. It's meant to be practiced quietly. In conversations you choose not to escalate. In reactions you decide not to give. If someone came to mind while watching this, that's not an accident. It's an invitation to respond differently next time. If you found clarity here, consider sharing this video with someone who might be carrying emotional weight they don't need to carry. If a line resonated, leave a comment. Not to debate, but to reflect. And if this way of thinking speaks to you, ancient wisdom for modern pressure, calm over chaos, inner order over reaction, subscribe to Legacy of Thinkers. This channel exists for those who choose awareness over impulse, restraint over noise, and depth over distraction. Take what serves you, leave what doesn't, and carry your calm forward.